was just about killing, killing, killing.
No Miami gang is more violent.
You might get your head blown for an ounce of coke.
Or more brutal.
There was a point where you could not bump into me without me hurling a blow. You couldn't look at me funny.
They get pleasure in talking about how someone's mother watched their kid die, and how funny that is.
They're proud of their Haitian heritage, but their cruelty has no limits.
They torture your loved ones to try to make the parents talk.
And if violence doesn't work, they'll call on the dark power of voodoo.
A lot of people has been taken out through black magic.
They call themselves Zoe Pound, Haitian to the bone.
We won't let nobody come in our hood and take over and think they're gonna run over us. Zoe Pound, man, I'm everywhere, man.
In the jungle, you gotta kill to eat.
Miami. This South Florida city is famous for its Latin flavor, Art Deco buildings, and endless nightlife. It's also a U.S. gateway for narcotics traffic from South America and the Caribbean, with one of the highest crime rates in the nation. Since the 1980s, much of Miami's violence has centered in Little Haiti, a poor neighborhood 3 miles north of downtown.
I mean, it's not a neighborhood you would want to raise your child in. I mean, you know, every day you're hearing gunshots around, people getting killed.
This neighborhood is home to some 40,000 Haitian immigrants and has been overrun with drugs, gangs, and carnage.
That's kind of like why they call Little Haiti Little Vietnam. There's war out there, man. There's war out there for real. And it's all because trying to eat.
March 5th, 1997. The freighter L'Arche Dende, en route from Haiti, arrived in Miami and moored. A group of 6 gangsters hid near the pier. One of them was Macazo, a local rap artist well known in Miami's Haitian community. He was also known to be a leader of one of Miami's most feared gangs, Zoe Pound.
He's a little dude. He's about 5'8", but he's standing every bit of 6'7", 6'9". It's his heart. Ain't nobody messing with Mac.
In the dark hours of the night, Macazo and 5 other members of Zoe Pound ambushed the crew and forced them to the back of the freighter. They brutally beat and robbed the sailors. One man was pistol whipped into a bloody pulp. Robbing the ship's crew wasn't the gang's ultimate goal. Zoe Pound's target was cargo they believed was hidden deep within the ship's hull.
Better than robbing a bank. I'm not talking $2,000. We talking about units.
If torture was necessary to get what we came to retrieve, we did what was ever necessary. Remember, we wasn't coming for, you know, a couple of $1,000s worth of coke. We was coming for a couple of million.
Zoe Pound is a secretive gang known for this type of piracy, home invasions, torture, and murder.
When it don't stop till the casket drop, it's like we don't stop hustling till we die, man. It's something that, like, we believe in.
This Zoe Pound member, Blind, has been in a gang since 1987.
I had a shootout when I was 12 with some dudes in the projects. One dude took a radio from my homeboy Baby at the time, and we got in a shootout. I remember that the first time I ever seen somebody shoot at somebody.
Y'all just gonna have me walking through the hood.
Blind moved to Miami in 1978 with his parents. As a new immigrant, he struggled to fit into American culture.
My parents didn't speak the language. The culture was totally different. It was like hard on me as a child, you know?
Zoe Pound gave Blind something he lacked: power.
There's power in unity, you know?
There's also power in secrecy. Zoe Pound is mysterious by nature. Most members won't admit to being part of a gang and claim to be a movement promoting Haitian pride.
Call it what you want. You know, everybody, it's just a form of identity. That's how they identify it as, whatever. But there's no truth to that. You know what I'm saying?
They label us a gang for coming together for something positive, for a movement to help the people. I mean, I know where I stand. I know I'm not a part of no gang.
33-year-old Macazo is thought to be a leader in Zoe Pound. He says that's only partly true.
And I won't say Zoe Pound has no leader, because really all of us are leaders. We all are leaders in our own way.
Macazo moved to Miami with his immigrant parents in 1976. Since he was 16, he's been in trouble with the law. Macazo has been charged with crimes ranging from drug possession to armed robbery and murder.
Well, I mean, I had my brush in with the law, but, you know, I ain't no saint or nothing like that, but, you know, I'm just on another level.
Local authorities say that the gang uses its code of secrecy to cover its illegal activities.
If they feel like they've been investigated or looked at, they'll change their names. It's not like you get in California, New York, where once you're part of this gang, you're in that gang for life.
Their secret culture means even the gang members have conflicting stories about the meaning of Zoe Pound's name. Kenny K, a Zoe Pound member who grew up in Little Haiti, says it's about ethnic pride.
The word Zoe, you know, it was a slang in our hood for Haitians.
Zoe in Creole really mean bone. They were saying we had hard bones. You know that. So we took that, being proud to be Haitian.
Jean is one of Zoe Pound's founders and gives a more explicit definition.
And excuse my vernacular, but if you're called Zoe, then you're called the Haitian big tough. You got Haitians with a pound of drugs, and that's how you got Zoe Pound.
Jean asked to have his identity concealed. The son of Haitian immigrants, he says he started Zoe Pound in 1990. Unlike other members, he denies that it's anything other than a criminal organization.
That was not no Haitian movement. It was a lick. We went, we hit, we got the money, we got some guns, we had some drugs, we was off the chain. You want to call it a movement? What we did, we just was trying to get paid.
Zoe Pound developed a ruthless reputation over the years. Their specialty became a new form of piracy. Haitian ships were sometimes known to smuggle large quantities of Colombian narcotics, including cocaine and heroin, into Miami. Their gateway was the Miami River, a winding 6-mile stretch that runs out of the Everglades, southeast through the city, into Biscayne Bay. The port of Miami is at the mouth of the river. Its narrow inlets make it easy for smugglers to travel upstream and slip virtually unnoticed into any of the hundreds of private docks. These smugglers worked hard to conceal their shipments in order to stay a step ahead of U.S. Customs.
They put it in the boats and well it and like that.
You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in cocaine.
Some local Haitian dock workers were part of the smuggling rings and were willing to tip off Zoe Pound for a price.
You got the old Haitian man, we call him the Haitian Poppy. He tell you what's going on, he give you the format, you know, how to go on, how many people are on there, and he even tell you specifically where it's at.
You from Miami, you know, the boats come in, the boats getting robbed, they getting touched. That was a normal occurrence, I mean, on the ports.
The boats were easy marks, and the robberies were rarely reported.
Who's going to call the police and say, well, I've been ripped off for, a ton of cocaine or 1,000 pounds of cocaine?
In the late 1990s, Miami police realized what was going on and began to crack down. They confiscated nearly 1,300 pounds of cocaine from one freighter alone. The increased police scrutiny made Zoe Pound even more secretive and ruthlessly violent.
One of the things with the boat invasions where they were killing the people on the boat so that there would be no witnesses.
When Macazo and the other Zoe Pound members raided the Larche Dende on the night of March 5th, 1997, they were hoping to hit the jackpot. The perfect robbery had one problem, though. The ship's captain was unaccounted for. Miami. Many call it the capital of Latin America and the Caribbean. Some 100,000 Haitians call the city home. Zoe Pound, one of the city's most notorious gangs, was started by Haitian immigrants steeped in a culture of violence.
There was no rules when we was dealing with, there's no rules in war.
These immigrants are refugees from the poverty, disease, and repression of their native country. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Some 80% of its people live below the poverty line. Barely half its population is literate. And the national AIDS rate is the highest in the West, up to 13% in some areas.
People are victims of the social and economic injustice. Anyone who talked about Haiti and say, well, they talk about the poverty that exists there.
Miami's first Haitian immigrants fled in the 1970s to escape the murderous dictatorship of Francois Papadoc Duvalier. The refugees crowded onto old, unsafe boats and attempted to make the harrowing 700-mile trip from Haiti to South Florida.
There were successive boatloads of refugees arriving here, fleeing the country, fleeing the brutality, fleeing the uncertainty, feeling the political repression.
Those who didn't drown or weren't turned back by the U.S. Coast Guard settled mainly in the Miami metro area. They ended up in low-income neighborhoods, including what would become Little Haiti.
Out of all the immigrants, I guess society pushed us to the lowest of the low.
In the early 80s, most Haitian immigrants were unskilled laborers who had to work 2 or more jobs just to meet basic family needs.
I mean, it was rough on them, minimum wage, struggling to keep food on the table, pay rent, sometime behind on rent. You know, it was rough.
I ain't had too much money and we was living like in a little shack, you know what I'm saying?
Red Eyes joined Zoe Pound while in his early teens. As a child, he and his friends had trouble fitting in with other kids in the neighborhood.
You know, the American kids, they was wearing jeans and the sneakers and the fly Jordans, et cetera, you know, so when you looking at that, you go to wanting that.
The Haitians were often bullied by other children.
They catch a vulnerable Haitian person that's walking to or from class or to or from school, and a mob of kids will jump on them for no reason at all.
See, in those days, because of those things was happening to Haitians on Fridays, they called Haitian Fridays, they would jump the Haitians.
Jean remembers one fight when he was 12.
I was in the lunch line, and a kid decided to skip me. He was a bigger kid, so he kind of did me up really well. But I stood there and I fought toe-to-toe. And I got hurled. I mean, I was called Haitian, stank, cat eater, everything under the sun.
Jean and his friends realized they were tougher together than alone. In 1990, they formed Zoe Pound.
Zoe Pound was created my 11th grade year because now you run the risk of you getting jumped.
Those people put their minds together and formed a unit and said, we're not gonna go down like that. We ain't finna let these people take over us and make us no slaves. You know what I'm saying?
Zoe Pound was the most powerful of many Haitian gangs that formed in Miami, all loosely organized around their neighborhoods. They called themselves cliques. Their goals were simple.
Most of them, it was to get respect. To get respect and to get power and to get money.
Money brings power also, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we was about, getting money.
Zoe Pound figured out a surefire way to get that money, selling narcotics.
I sold crack all my life, ever since I was 11 years old. While the other young boy was trying to, in the park, playing football or baseball, I was on the streets getting money.
The gang started to hang out on Northeast 56th Street and 1st. They dubbed their headquarters the White House.
We right here in Little Haiti, 56th and 1st, in front of the legendary White House where we used to hustle. Like I used to tell you, you know, hustle. Sell a little weed, sell a little everything we can get our hands on, you know what I'm saying?
See, when you want to come find Zoe Pound, come to the White House. You got any problem with Zoe Pound? Come to the White House. Anything that went place in Little Haiti before it went down, they had to come to the White House. Plain and simple.
Believe that. We was young, fresh, swagged out. You know, we had our donks. Everybody with their candy paint.
In Haiti, Francois Duvalier's dictatorship had ended with a violent overthrow. By 1990, the country was a democracy and had elected a president, Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Then, in 1991, a military coup drove him out, and a second wave of Haitian immigrants flooded Miami. Many didn't speak English and had to rely on their children to translate.
The person that was doing your translating were the kids. And they only told their parents what they wanted to tell them.
The children soon realized they were in control. Some joined Zoe Pound, which was turning from a group of dealers and thieves into hardcore gangsters.
We had muscle to do whatever we wanted to do in the hood.
We was in stealing cars and change the serial number, sell them. We didn't even rob banks, man. 94, 95 was when Zoe Pound then became what you would call an official, recognized gang of killers.
Jean quit Zoe Pound, convinced its primary goal was no longer to make money, but to commit murder. In his mind, the force behind the change wasn't rebellion, but the gang's deepening involvement in the drug trade.
We went from the weed to mixing. At the time, we called it bulk.
By 1997, Zoe Pound had a favored method of getting drugs, pirating boats that smuggled Colombian cocaine.
The Colombians started setting up a hub in Haiti because they saw an opportunity to get their drugs to the United States through using these Haitian vessels.
The Miami River, with its miles of winding waterways and numerous available docks, was a natural setting for the smugglers.
It was easy. Come in, offload, and everybody's happy.
It also offered easy pickings for Zoe Pound. Crew members that fought the pirates were beaten, tortured, and sometimes killed.
Oh, people lost ears and fingers and certain body parts, you know, to pertain the answers to what we needed to know.
Zoe Pound established a fierce reputation on the streets, even among the hardest gangsters.
I have not found a group that's not afraid of them. Our Latin groups I tease with, why don't you set up shop back here and look at me and are you nuts? Those Haitians will kill you.
One Haitian gang, the Street Action Posse, or SAP, tried to challenge Zoe Pound and paid a heavy price.
Yeah, a little bird flew over to us and told us that they was gearing up to come kill us. And they came and got what they asked for.
February 8th, 1996. SAP triggered its attack on Zoe Pound.
They planned a hit on the Zoe Pounds, an ambush. For some reason, the Zoe Pound had gotten wind of this. Someone had tipped them off. And they laid an ambush waiting for the SAP boys to show up.
They had nothing better to do but try to with some who was doing some real who was getting some real money, and they wanted part of it.
When SAP rolled into Zoe Pound's neighborhood at North 56th Street and Miami Place, a fierce gunfight erupted.
They shot at some of my boys, whatever, and we retaliated, shot at them.
22-year-old Rovington Roll was one of the SAP gangsters involved. He jumped out of the car to get a better position and met a hail of Zoe Pound bullets.
The driver stayed as long as he could, and he pulled off while the dog was trying to go back in the car. You know, it was an ugly sight then, you know? He died with his gun right there. They hit him by over 130 times, and there were about 200 shells out there. It turned to corned beef hash, man. Breakfast.
The SAP boys left Roll to die on the street.
They just left him behind. No one stayed around to render him aid.
Miami police got a tip that one of Zoe Pound's leaders, Macazo, may have been the trigger man who fired the fatal shots.
One individual told me that it was in fact Macazo that actually shot Mr. Roll, as Mr. Roll was actually trying to flee. But that was never confirmed.
No one from Zoe Pound, including Macazo, was ever charged in connection with Roll's death. The reason?
They were a violent group, a violent gang, but nonetheless, in this particular instance, they were ambushed.
Zoe Pound remained firmly in control of Miami.
There wasn't no problem because we wiped that problem out as soon as it came up.
Miami, 1996. Zoe Pound, the most secretive and violent Haitian gang in the city, was operating out of its headquarters on 56th Street, or the 5-6.
When you had to come through 5-6, you had to put your window down to identify yourself. If not, your get shot up, and you couldn't ride around 2 times. Your get shot the up.
Zoe Pound didn't care where they staged their shootouts or who might be killed. One notorious incident took place near a North Miami Beach swimming pool.
Said there was like 67-year-olds getting swim lessons in the pool as rounds are going back and forth over their heads. And there was 64 rounds left on the scene.
Some members of Zoe Pound publicly deny they are a gang, claiming police are unfairly branding them.
They put the label on us as far as being a gang, but that's not what the movement was about. It was just about standing up for our people, making a way for our people.
As part of its culture of secrecy, Zoe Pound has a long history of shunning traditional gang behavior.
We don't believe in throwing up no retarded gang signs. That's retarded.
There are no beat-ins for new members or mandatory tattoos.
It's not like, you know, with the crowns and the pitchforks and the bunnies and the champagne glasses. They don't do that.
The only colors they fly are the colors of Haiti.
We don't have no colors. A lot of my friends, they like to represent their Haitian flag that represent their country.
This is what we represent. This is what all of it mean right here. This flag said right here. La union fait la force, which means when you unite, when you click up, join up as one, that's powerful.
Zoe Pound says what holds the clique together is the special bond among its members. While some have more power than others, there is no one leader.
It's unity, it's family, it ain't no boss. Everybody their own boss. You feel me? It's like, you got son, you got son, you got son, I got son.
To Zoe Pound, putting in work is all that matters if you want to make a name for yourself.
For the new people coming, you want to work. Everybody want to hustle. Everybody wants some kind of income. But by you showing your loyalty and your dedication, make you step up to different ranks.
Loyalty and dedication often translate to random violence. One of the gang's preferred methods of payback, drive-bys.
They called it riding. Riding meant you go out to look for people to kill. And they just drove around until they found the people they wanted to kill.
But if you shoot at me, I'm gonna shoot at you back. I ain't gonna come out there with no knife.
Zoe Pound drive-bys feature a barrage of shells, designed to make a statement as much as to kill.
All day gunplay. And I just been seeing police come picking up shells of bullets. And not one bucket, not two buckets, but 3 filled buckets with none but shells.
Everybody, including the driver, has a gun. Everybody has to shoot. Everybody has to empty their gun. That makes everybody just as guilty.
The gang stocks a huge cache of automatic weapons, including choppers.
And they say the chopper, because whatever comes in the way, get chopped up.
That gun is an epitome of power. It shoots a big round and does a lot of damage. That's a weapon of choice.
Zoe Pound doesn't always simply shoot their enemies or victims. Torturing them is often more effective.
They have learned that violence controls people. If you're terrified of me, I'm going to get what I want, one way or the other.
Zoe Pound finds frightening new uses for common household items.
People that was with me, whatever, they done plugged up the iron. You know, if you wrinkle, we'll straighten you out. You know? Get the irons heated up, and they do some up. They get people daughters, people kids, torture them, trying to make the mama talk, torture the mama, torture the daddy. They torture your loved ones to try to make the parents talk.
Even a simple teaspoon can become a torture device.
No, we ain't have to, no iron. We had to use a spoon or something, put it on the stove or whatever. You get that hair smell first, and then you get that, like, a burnt meat, like, you know, kind of smell. Trust me, man, I done seen killers, man, run out the room like, man, I don't want no parts of that, man. You know?
These gangsters have no fear of law enforcement.
You gonna put me in jail? So what?
Even the threat of the death penalty means nothing.
And their mentality is, if I kill you, what can the state do to me? They can kill me. So once I've killed you, if I kill 14 more people, what can the state do to me? They can only kill me one time.
Zoe Pound does fear one thing: the mysterious power of voodoo. Voodoo, which originated in Africa, is practiced widely by Haitians.
Voodoo is a religion, and is a tradition, is a way of life, is a social life.
The ways of voodoo often breed more violence.
Yeah, they got people sell their soul to come up. One minute you see a mother broke, they sell their soul while they go to the witch doctor, to the voodoo lady, but they gotta bring a sacrifice, like bring a child or something and stuff like that. So you selling your soul and selling somebody else's soul for your soul.
Many Zoe Pound members believe it gives them protection during gang warfare.
My friend was in the car, and someone drove up on the car and shot the car like 10 times. And he showed me a little scratch, and he said the bullet went through him, but the voodoo protected him.
If you believe in something, and if you go and commit a murder and you didn't get caught, it worked, didn't it? In your mind.
The gang's members often consult priestesses of voodoo before committing their crimes.
They'll tell them, I'm gonna go kill somebody and I need the spirits to protect me and this is what I want. They'll sew them something together or they'll draw them something and they'll charge them $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for these items. And here it is, this will protect you.
Police have seen the power of voodoo work in their favor.
We were interviewing a young man for a homicide, and he wouldn't confess, wouldn't talk to us. Mother came in. She was a practicing voodoo priestess. She came in with a big, giant red ruby ring, and they started rubbing it, and they said a prayer, and she said, they cannot touch you. Tell them what happened. And he went on to give us a full confession of the homicide. Needless to say, he's in jail. He's been found guilty, and it didn't work for him.
In the end, Zoe Pound respects the one thing they feel is more powerful than they are.
I don't necessarily believe it, but he do. You know, so, you know, I don't with the voodoo at all. Point blank, period. It's nothing to be played with whatsoever.
Miami, Florida, 1997. Zoe Pound, the city's most powerful and vicious Haitian gang, had developed a unique way of making money, robbing ships docked along the Miami River.
Storming them, much like pirates, although they came by land, but they're like pirates. And it was stuff that you would see out of a Chuck Norris movie, yeah.
The freighters often carried millions in illegal drugs stashed in their hulls. Gangsters in Haiti would tip off their counterparts in Miami.
So the tip, it'll come here, so all you need is the name of the boat. And then once it get here, then you gotta wait the custom go on there and clear it. One boat, I know they hit for about 300 keys. Now with the big lick.
The street value of these hauls often ran into 7 figures.
Millions of dollars, man. It's man done. Like I say, you could wake up with $5 in your pocket and go to sleep with 2-3 million, or maybe more.
That's the kind of score Zoe Pound was hoping for when it ambushed the freighter L'Arche Dende on March 5th. Six Zoe Pound gangsters forced their way onto the ship. According to Kenny Kay, they were well prepared.
A few of my friends politely invited themselves on the boat, and they had blowtorches.
Before turning blowtorches on the ship's hull in search of hidden drugs, Zoe Pound subdued the boat's crew, robbing and brutally beating them. In the chaos, the ship's captain jumped overboard. He swam to shore and quickly called the cops.
The police came and a few of my guys got arrested, you know, had them on the news, you know, accused them of being pirates.
The Miami police caught a big break that night. One of the men they arrested turned out to be one of Zoe Pound's leaders, Macazo.
He was caught as he was fleeing. He caught quite a few charges from what stemmed on that boat invasion.
Macazo was charged with burglary, armed robbery, and use of a deadly weapon. But even with Macazo in jail, the terror on the docks continued.
These guys were violent. They won't give anything out. The only thing that they would give you is a hot piece of steel from a gun.
July 14th, 1997. Pirates attacked the transport ship Vanderpool Express at a Miami dock on Northwest 30th Avenue. Miami police found 4 crew members dead on the scene. A 5th man was found alive, blood gushing from his slashed throat. He died later at a hospital.
Vanderpool Express was a very ugly homicide.
Miami authorities immediately suspected Zoe Pound, but there wasn't enough evidence to link the gang to the murders. there were also no witnesses. Zoe Pound became even more brazen in its efforts to steal drugs. They started a spree of home invasions.
We speculated the fact that the drugs came from the boats and it was dropped off to these stash houses, and then that's when the home invasion robberies were being done.
The gang would get tipped to homes where drugs and cash were being stashed.
A Haitian gang member in Haiti would get information that a person was coming to the States with money. They would contact their contact in the American Haitian gang, and they would set up a home invasion.
They don't normally go into Joe Schmo's home. Most of their home invasions are not random. The targets are normally they've been staked out.
This Zoe Pound member remembers a long and uncomfortable stakeout.
48 hours straight in the car, pissing in, the little Gatorade, gallon, whatever, pissing it up, man, just to get this money.
Zoe Pound's home invasions were swift, terrifying, and usually featured torture.
He'd kick in the door, hold everybody hostage.
There was people sleeping, wake them up, tie them up, cut off the phone lines, whatever, put them in separate rooms, and ask each of them, where's that?
The gang's tips weren't always accurate, but they thrived on blood and violence and showed no mercy to their victims.
They would go to this house and do this home invasion, torture these people, and sometimes I even committed a homicide, and the people in this home are totally innocent, had nothing to do with nothing.
One innocent victim was a 45-year-old father named Fred Benoit. On December 22nd, 1998, Miami PD was called out to his home.
In the middle of the night, they cut his phone lines, came to his home, forced their way in, and shot him.
The man's teenage daughter had shielded her younger brothers in another room while the intruders ransacked the house. When police showed up, the men took off empty-handed.
My information that I received on this victim, he was never involved in any illegal activity. He was just a hardworking man who provided for his family.
Again, the cops suspected Zoe Pound was behind the attack.
I don't know nobody who did that to nobody. You know what I'm saying?
The police kept running into another obstacle with their investigations. No one from the community was talking.
The only time that these get reported is if somebody gets hit, or if a neighbor happens to call. And in some of the neighborhoods, the neighbors don't call.
By 1999, Miami police were frustrated by Zoe Pound and called in the FBI to help set up a series of sting operations.
We started setting up home invasion robbery scenarios, actually going out there and setting up houses with, kilos and money.
The traps worked, but one big fish got away. Just 1 month after his arrest for the attack on the Larche Dende, Macazo was set free from jail when a judge threw out his case. The Zoe Pound leader was back on the streets.
Well, lawyers do what they're supposed to do. They beat the case, and and the DEA been hot ever since then.
Miami, 2001. After years of senseless killings and home invasions, an FBI-led task force set elaborate traps for Zoe Pound and began putting away some of the city's most violent gangsters. The sting operation involved federal, state, and local authorities and was dubbed Operation Riverwalk. The goal, to end the violent crimes attributed to Zoe Pound.
They literally closed down the Miami River for drugs. Close it down.
The authorities say that Zoe Pound is keeping a lower profile for now.
I don't believe, personally, that the Zoe Pound continues to involved in any kind of activity, at least not to make themselves notorious.
Some members like Blind and Red Eyes remember the gang's most brazen era.
Any given time in Little Haiti, man, you can find somebody dead on the corner. Sometimes you can find cars with multitudes of people in it dead, you know, but that's what took place in the hood.
Used to be out here like you can imagine. All that from down there all the way around this corner. All the candy painted Chevys all across the street, all over here, everywhere. We was the police out here. We was the law.
Today, Miami police make their presence known in troubled areas like Little Haiti.
We go into the worst gang neighborhood that we know, and we just walk the neighborhoods.
Drugs and guns are still very much a part of the Miami scene.
We're down here in Little Haiti off of 58 and Northeast 2nd Court. The city had received some information that this was a drug house and that they had AK-47s.
Officers don't hesitate to stop suspected gang members in Zoe Pound's stomping ground.
There was a vehicle across the street over here with somebody standing outside, too, by the house. And they stopped them. When they searched them, they found cocaine and marijuana.
That's what we found so far. So 2 bags of powder cocaine and a little bit of marijuana residue.
With Zoe Pound keeping a lower profile, the criminal activity in Little Haiti seems to have decreased.
Send me somebody, Jody.
Welcome to Miami. Okay, my guy was asked to kick off his shoes. When we did, we noticed a little something in the shoes. I guess this is why my guy, jumps high and runs faster, because the shoes will get you higher.
This type of aggressive law enforcement may have lessened Zoe Pound's dominance of Miami. But that doesn't mean the gang is no longer a threat.
It's still suspected that they're maintaining the importing and exporting of narcotics that they always have.
Zoe Pound has expanded outside of Miami into other parts of Florida and beyond.
They shifted north, by and large. And we just have to keep an eye out and an ear open for the fact if they start mobilizing again and start picking up back in the city.
Mickey's not safe anymore. Mickey Mouse. They're taking up over Orlando. My guys are getting arrested in Georgia, in Alabama, in New York. They go where their business takes them.
No, y'all done saw that YouTube. I told you, Zoe Pound ain't local. We nationwide.
The gang's founders also say Zoe Pound has expanded to more legitimate pursuits, including music.
Got a hot new album coming out pretty soon. Look forward to that.
My chain glow like a red-nosed reindeer. I can poke rose on the floor. Ain't a thing here.
Red Eyes now has a rap career and has recorded with some of the biggest stars in hip-hop, including Lil Wayne. Blind runs a music label called Zoe Pound Entertainment.
We in the entertainment industry now, and we all over. We trying to do internet. We trying to do movies. We into making money now, real money, legal money.
One of Zoe Pound's leaders, Macazo, has been occupied with legal issues. Though the charges associated with the Larche Dende raid were dropped, he found himself in the slammer again. This time, it was for attempted murder in a drive-by shootout just north of Little Haiti. He was convicted and sentenced to life a year later. Macazo and his lawyers are seeking a new trial.
I will be back out there. Just not a lay down type. This is a situation where I gotta fight. I'm fighting for my life.
His boys claim he was set up and wear Free Macazo shirts in his honor.
Mac was railroaded. He's the most notable face of Zoe Pound. So that's how Mac got caught up in his situation, and that's why we have Free Macazo t-shirts, because we felt he was wrongly accused.
A man out here play a big part in this music industry, you know? Trying to do positive things, and some other bullshit, they pull his name in it. It's like up how the system is, you know?
Zoe Pound members say it's just another chapter in a life that has been misunderstood. For them, the name has and always will be about pride.
Streets embrace me like I claim here. I got married to the game.
If it wasn't for the streets, we wouldn't be Zoe Pound. If it wasn't for the music, we wouldn't be Zoe Pound. So it was one.
Like, that mentality is what built us to what we are right now. To be a Zoe Pound, man, that's one of the realest things to be. One of the realest.